Nemo Radio is on the air.
A, B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Hey, it's John Nemo. Welcome back to another episode of Nemo Radio. As you probably noticed if you're a regular listener or if you've listened to the previous episode, I'm actually releasing for free chapters of the updated version of my new audiobook, LinkedIn Riches. If you're not familiar with it, I first wrote and recorded the audiobook for LinkedIn Riches all the way back in 2014, and since then I've updated it multiple times. Now, the last update was 5 years ago, so imagine how much has changed. I've more than doubled the amount of content in the regular book and the audiobook. So what I'm doing here on the Nemo Radio podcast is actually sharing different chapters from the audiobook so you can get not only a sneak peek of what's inside the audiobook, but also some real practical, actionable strategies and tactics. And in this episode, we're going to cover what 99% of LinkedIn profiles get wrong and how to fix it. So without further ado, let's dive in. Chapter 2, what 99% of LinkedIn profiles get wrong and how to fix it. So when LinkedIn first started back in 2003, the whole idea, again, was basically to post your resume online and then maybe an HR person or a recruiter would find you. And obviously you could search and apply for jobs through LinkedIn's database. This is funny. If you remember, if you were on LinkedIn in the early days, the site only wanted you to connect with people you already knew in real life. Now think about how much that has changed. So again, all of us did what LinkedIn wanted us to do. We generated and created LinkedIn profiles that were all about, wait for it, us, right? They were all about ourselves and our work and our resumes, and we talked about where we went to college and the industry awards we'd won and more. Again, we just talked about ourselves incessantly. And if you think about that, we've all been stuck at that, in the corner at a party, a dinner party, a cocktail party, or a social gathering, and we meet that guy or that gal who literally will not stop talking about himself or herself, right? We've all been there, and we're all like, somebody come rescue me, where's my spouse, And again, this is so annoying, right? We hate it when we're stuck with someone and all they do is talk about themselves incessantly. So then why would we do that with our LinkedIn profiles? That's what I mean when I say 99% of people are still using LinkedIn the wrong way. They've got LinkedIn profiles that only talk about themselves. So I want to really share with you the solution, the one I first stumbled across in 2012, from that Dale Carnegie quote, and I want to outline exactly how it works. So instead of having your profile read like an online resume, you need to really make it all about how you help a specific targeted audience of customers and clients achieve their goals by utilizing your product or service. So I want you to go back through your LinkedIn profile and think about it with these types of questions in mind. Like look at your current profile right now. Pull it up as you're listening to the audiobook. How is what I'm sharing here on my profile going to help my ideal client or customer solve his or her biggest problem? How is what I'm posting here on my LinkedIn profile page going to help my ideal client make more money, save time, or solve core challenges that I know they have? If you're looking at that right now at your resume and you're like, well, it doesn't say anything about that, then you're part of the 99%, right? We've got to get you fixed and get you to create what I call a client-facing profile. And that's really all about flipping this old kind of outdated view of LinkedIn only being a job seeker, hiring manager network. We got to flip that upside down. And instead, I want to help you build a personal brand that really makes it clear who you are, what you do, and then the unique value or benefit that you can bring to a specific audience in the workplace. And once you have your profile in order, going on LinkedIn then to kind of find, engage, and sell to your ideal clients and customers becomes far easier. So now, one of my favorite things to do, we're going back to the 1980s. Okay, so I want to illustrate with a great example. If you haven't seen the Disney movie Wreck-It Ralph, it's an animated movie. It's a throwback to the glory days of 1980s video games. And if, like me, if you grew up during the 1980s, you're instantly transported back during Wreck-It Ralph to the days of having our tube socks pulled up to our knees, wearing the short shorts, having a fistful of quarters, and then running to the local video arcade, to play Miss Pac-Man, Defender, Donkey Kong. And by the way, best 1980s arcade game of all time, Miss Pac-Man. Let's just stop the debate there. Okay. My mom, she could drop me off with like a couple of quarters while she shopped for groceries, and I would just sit in front of Miss Pac-Man. And if I could make those 2 or 3 quarters last 20 or 30 minutes, I didn't have to walk up and down the grocery store aisles. Like, that was the 80s. They had arcade machines in gas stations and grocery stores and restaurants. It was the best. If you miss the 80s in real life, go back and watch Stranger Things, watch Wreck-It Ralph. God, what a great decade. But anyway, back to the movie Wreck-It Ralph, right? The whole point of it was there's this character called Fix-It Felix, and he is the most popular guy in video game land. The whole premise of Wreck-It Ralph is you get to go inside the video games and meet all the characters, Donkey Kong and everybody else. And Fix-It Felix is the most popular guy in video game land. And the reason is he walks around with his golden hammer and spends all day, every day, fixing his customers' problems. See where I'm going with this? The most popular person is the guy who all he does is focus on fixing other people's problems. Now, if you want to really hammer this point home, I will give you one more line from an early 1990s icon of eloquence. If you got a problem, I'll solve it. Now check out the moves while my DJ revolves it. And of course, I'm quoting Vanilla Ice. Ice Ice Baby. He wore Zubas in the Ice Ice Baby video. Fun fact, Miami Hurricanes colors, Zubas were in style in the early 90s. Even Vanilla Ice was wearing them. Now again, all kidding aside, Vanilla Ice and Fix-It Felix, they're trying to convey a very simple, timeless sales and marketing truth to you and to me. You've got to make your LinkedIn profile all about the problems that you solve for your ideal clients and customers. So with that in mind, you need to refocus and repurpose and reframe every single sentence of your LinkedIn profile page to really answer this question. How does what I'm saying right now help my ideal client or customer make more money, solve a problem, or get a benefit they want? Now, before you hit the panic button, don't worry. I'm here to share good news. I have an entire fill-in-the-blank template for you. Again, one more 80s reference. Do you remember Wacky Mad Libs? Now, back in the 80s, we would do these cross-country road trips, just like watch the movie National Lampoon's Vacation. That's another good example of an 80s road trip in the car. We didn't have iPhones or devices or anything to pass the time, so my parents would buy these Wacky Mad Libs books, and they were basically a fill-in-the-blank story where it would say, give me a noun, give me a verb, give me the name of someone, and then you would fill in the blanks on it, and then it would tell a great story, a great narrative. And of course, being an immature 1980s youth, we would fill in things like, give me a verb, farting, right? Give me a noun, stupid, or an adjective, stupid, right? And then it would be like, the stupid farting sister, and it was great. I mean, Wacky Mad Libs are the best. So anyway, the whole idea is I've got a fill-in-the-blank template for you that you can get instant access to if you go to linkedinriches.com/bonus. Go to that URL, and again, that will have all kinds of free video trainings and templates. And I'm going to reveal and share the whole template here in the audiobook too, so you don't have to leave right now. But again, the whole point is I'm going to give you the exact kind of fill-in-the-blank template scripts to use to have a client-facing profile. And before I get into that, I do have to point out, do not be this guy or this gal on LinkedIn. So I was doing this the other day, looking through my LinkedIn connections. I have around 20,000 connections, and I found a tool where I could filter them all. And I was shocked to find out that based on their LinkedIn headlines, I was connected to 229, quote, masters, 75, quote, gurus, 45, quote, ninjas, 15 geniuses, 3 rock stars, and I was even connected to a pair of sensei. Now, obviously, these are ridiculous, right? But these are real terms and phrases that people I'm connected to on LinkedIn use in their LinkedIn headline to describe themselves as part of their professional headline. And again, to go back to the 1980s and to quote John McEnroe, the famous tennis player, when he was melting down at an umpire at Wimbledon, you cannot be serious. You cannot be serious with this. But people do it. LinkedIn lead generation guru, right? LinkedIn ninja, like SEO sensei, like don't do that. Don't put hype and hyperbole and ridiculousness in there. And there's a couple of reasons. One is anyone can claim that they're an authority. Anyone can claim they're the best in the world just by saying it. It doesn't make it true. Like, you have to demonstrate expertise. So again, let's start here while I'm making fun of that. Let's start with what I really consider a make or break section of your LinkedIn profile, and that is your professional headline. It's right next to your photo. It follows you everywhere on LinkedIn. Whenever you post or send a message or anyone looks at your stuff on LinkedIn, they're going to see that profile headline. So we want to make sure that you've got it dialed in. And again, far too many people are trying to be clever and cute with their headline, like, oh, I'm going to call myself a ninja, or I'm going to write some flowery hyperbole and all this stuff. And the reality is, we live in an era of prove it marketing. Talk is cheap. Instead, if you want to actually have people hire you, and I'm going to get into this more in the book as we go along, you first got to demonstrate expertise, and you've got to demonstrate authority through the content you create, the advice you give, and so on. Yes, you can still, leverage trusted authority markers like media appearances or awards and things like that, but you don't want to try to shoehorn all that into a LinkedIn profile. Instead of trying to be clever with your LinkedIn headline, I really want you to notice this. Just be clear. The idea is for someone to scan your LinkedIn profile headline, and within half a second to 2 seconds, they know what you do and who you do it for. So I'm going to now share what I call the ideal LinkedIn profile headline formula. And it's a very simple, phrase. It's the service I provide for the target audiences I serve. So again, service I provide for, and then insert the target audiences. So I'll give you an example on my current profile page, what it looks like. The service I provide, here's what I put for my LinkedIn headline. Done for you, LinkedIn lead generation. That's the service. And then I have some target audiences. I say, done for you, LinkedIn lead generation for small business owners and consultants. So again, see how clear and how simple that is? If you are a small business owner or a consultant on LinkedIn, and you see John Nemo, you get an invite from me, a message from me, next to my photo is a headline that says, done for you LinkedIn lead generation for small business owners and consultants. And if I'm messaging you as a consultant or a small business owner, you know instantly what's in it for you if you talk to me on LinkedIn, if you connect with me, if you take my content. I'm going to be able to provide this service for you or this benefit for you. So when I first started, again, I only had the one client, a debt collector. My LinkedIn headline at that time read, marketing services for debt collection agency owners, right? It was this service for this target audience. Again, your LinkedIn profile is not the place where you want to have your job title. You don't want to have anything clever, any hyperbole. You want to just use that simple formula. The service you provide for, 1 to 2 to maybe 3 target audiences. Again, if you are doing this the proper way, when you now reach out on LinkedIn to those 2 to 3 target audiences, they know from the second they see your headline, A, you work with people just like them, and B, oh, here's the service he can help me with. So again, if you're marketing to accountants and bookkeepers and CPAs, you'd say service for accountants, bookkeepers, and CPAs, whatever it might be, right? Lead generation, marketing, SEO. They would immediately get that and look at you on LinkedIn and go, oh, cool, he works with accountants. I'm an accountant. Oh, and he helps with SEO. Yeah, I want to improve my website. So that's why this is so powerful and so simple and so clear. So now I'll give you a great story to really illustrate this and drive the point home that doesn't involve me. So this is a great example of getting too many clients too quickly from LinkedIn. Greatest problem on earth. But when I first met her, Catherine Bishop was almost ready to give up on her business, to close the doors and just go back into academic teaching. So Catherine was an accountant, a bookkeeper, and a CPA based in North Carolina, and she was having a really hard time getting a steady, predictable stream of qualified leads. It was all referrals and up and down, a roller coaster, boom or bust. And I can see a lot of you nodding your head right now, yes, that's the exact situation I'm in. I'm living off referrals. It's so unpredictable. If I could just get a proven quality, steady stream of leads, that'd be amazing. So even though she was amazing at her job, Catherine was really having a hard time figuring out how to generate leads on LinkedIn and how to market herself. So she knew her ideal clients were on the platform, but again, Catherine was really unsure. How do I stand out from the crowd? There's so many other accountants and bookkeepers and CPAs. I'm reaching out on LinkedIn. I'm not getting any traction. Now, one of the great things when Catherine hired me and hired Nemo Media Group to do done-for-you LinkedIn lead generation for, she's a great storyteller, really funny, great personality. And as she told me kind of her background and her story, I immediately had an idea. And so Catherine grew up as the daughter of a contractor and a CPA. Her dad was a contractor and her mom was a CPA. So literally she grew up in both business worlds, right? She grew up in the construction industry. In fact, her dad had a rule. Catherine had to be on a job site every Saturday morning by 8 a.m. to help him, like carrying boards, picking up nails. And she joked that that was his way of making sure she didn't stay out too late on Friday nights in high school. Was, yeah, I got to be on a job site at 8 a.m. tomorrow, right? So again, as a result, Catherine Bishop grows up with kind of this unique insight and expertise and understanding around the unique dynamics of running your own contracting business. I mean, that's what her dad did her whole life growing up. Also, she knows how the books work because her mom's a CPA and did the books. So again, she's got that dynamic and she understands the role of a small business in the family. So when I looked at Catherine's LinkedIn profile, none of it reflected that, right? It was just a resume and her company name and all that. So when I went to Catherine's profile, again, I realized the riches are in the niches. And one of the key things is understanding who would Catherine appeal to and what could be the service that she could offer. So I immediately changed her LinkedIn profile headline to read like this: construction, accounting, and bookkeeping, construction, payroll, and taxes. Now, using the formula that I just laid out above, I could do the same thing: accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll for construction companies and contractors. So it was a very similar approach. And basically, I love using industry-specific kind of, descriptions. And I also like emojis. I know some people are like, oh, I hate emojis. I'm a big fan of emojis because they're visual. So again, you can't see this in an audiobook. But one of the things you're going to do with your LinkedIn professional headline and other sections of text is you're going to need to break it up. So sometimes you're going to put like a line break or a dash or an arrow or just whatever it might be. I like to use emojis. So for Catherine, to kind of cue people in visually about construction, it would say, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll services for construction, right? And then it would have a construction emoji, like a guy in a hard hat and a vest or a crane, right? So again, if you look at the bonus training, linkedinriches.com/bonus, or if you look in the print book or the Kindle, you'll see screenshots of how I sprinkle in emojis. But the point being, with Catherine, I reshaped and rewrote the rest of her LinkedIn profile, not only the headline, but the about section and everything else, to really niche it to be all about how she helped one specific target audience, which in this case was contractors and construction companies, get a benefit they wanted, which is industry-specific expertise around their accounting, bookkeeping, and tax planning. Then our agency team took that, revamped client-facing profile. We started reaching out to, you guessed it, contractors and construction company owners on LinkedIn, right? We used Catherine's personal profile, which now was all about how she helped contractors and construction owners get something they wanted with bookkeeping and finance. We reached out to them all one-on-one. We, offered insight, free content, tips, etc. And basically within 60 days, Catherine Bishop calls me in a panic and she said, you need to turn these campaigns off. She's like, I have too many new clients. I have too many leads. I can't get to them all. Stop, make it stop, make it stop. So basically I got fired. I've never been so happy to be fired by a client. She's like, I can't just turn it off. This is crazy. I can't take any more leads. She got so much business so quickly. Her husband quit his day job and came to work for her. And what the coolest part of this story is 2 years later, 2 years after we turned off those campaigns on LinkedIn, Catherine never bothered to change anything. She left her profile the way it is. It's still there today as I record this. 2 years later, she's still getting clients from that LinkedIn profile. She emailed me the other day and she's like, yeah, out of the blue, someone from when you ran those campaigns a couple years ago contacted me, and we're going to start working together. And he said he knows everything about running his tree trimming business except the bookkeeping. And after looking at my profile, he's like, I can sleep easier knowing you know exactly what our world is like. So he hired her based on that profile and that narrative and that story. Now, again, that's 2 years after I stopped working with Catherine. And that's the power of a LinkedIn headline that really helps your target audience instantly understand how you can help them solve a key problem or challenge that they have. Now I want to talk about why the riches are in the niches on LinkedIn, go a little bit deeper on that topic. I first understood the power of this, again, when I quit my day job to start Nemo Media Group back in 2012. As you might recall, the one client I had was a debt collector. And he had picked me as his service provider because I had industry-specific expertise and experience. So in a previous corporate job, I had done public relations for ACA International, which is a debt collection trade association. So I had spent a couple years there, and out of necessity, I got more knowledge than any human should ever have about the debt collection industry. I spent hours on collection floors. I learned all the, crazy labyrinth of rules and regulations and all the different things they have to do. And also, most importantly, I met a ton of debt collectors because it was a trade association. We had events, and I would meet the collection agency owners and the collection agents. And I was shocked that 99% of these people were nothing like the actual stereotype you have of debt collectors who are mean and rude and tattooed and screaming at everyone on the phone like they're just regular people. And so, anyway, I had built all this experience in this industry, and that was why that one collection agency owner was like, hey, if you ever go on your own, I'm going to hire you. Like, I'll make you, I'll be your first client. And so I took him up on it, and that's why I jumped. And one of the reasons I realized now that I had this one debt collector, I could go get more was because during my time at ACA International, since I had spent so much time talking to debt collection agency owners, I heard all about their pain points and obstacles. So I really understood my prospect. I understood my ideal client well. And one of the biggest pain points that debt collectors had whenever I talked to them was, we hire an outside marketing agency. They don't get it. They don't get us. They don't get the industry. We have to spend all this time educating them about what we can or can't do, all the laws and rules and regulations. It's just ridiculous. Like, by the time we get them educated, they're supposed to try to market us and explain us. They don't understand what we do and how we do it and why we have to do it the way we do. So as a result, right, these debt collectors told me they felt like, marketing and lead generation agencies more often than not really missed the mark. So once I'm out on my own, having that industry knowledge, again, and that one client was a debt collector, I hyper niched my presence on LinkedIn to be the debt collection agency marketing guy. So that was my profile headline, my about section, my messages, my free content. And that is why I was able to generate 6 figures in new business in less than 90 days. The reason was very simple. The debt collectors I would contact on LinkedIn were thrilled to talk to somebody who actually understood them, who actually understood their industry, who they wouldn't have to educate, and all of that. And then again, I had the proof where they would see on my LinkedIn profile that I had worked for ACA International. Many of them were members. So they were like, oh, you work for them. Well, you really know your stuff. We don't have to explain the industry. That just sped along the process of them trusting me. And again, that's the reason contractors and construction companies couldn't wait to connect with Catherine Bishop on LinkedIn. They knew she got their world and that they could hit the ground running. She would be able to pick up their bookkeeping and taxes without missing a mark because she knew all the unique little financial nuances and nooks and crannies of the contracting world and the construction world. So now I can hear the protests. I can hear it through thin air. I get them every day in email. People will say to me, but John, I can work with anyone. I don't want to limit myself. My services I really want to be big, and all this. And I don't want to just niche myself to 1 or 2 target audiences. That's fine. You can go that route if you want, and you're going to get completely ignored. Your LinkedIn is going to be a bunch of tumbleweeds. It comes back to this. You cannot succeed on LinkedIn if you're trying to be everything to everyone. Instead, you've got to define a few niche target audiences to appeal to and then really build outward from there. And I'll say it one more time. If you try to be everything to everyone on LinkedIn, you'll be nothing to no one. So let's talk now about how do you choose your ideal audiences on LinkedIn? How do you decide what niches to go in on? It's very simple, like stay in your lane, right? So here's what I tell clients. Like, look at your backstory. Where did you go? What did you go to school for? If you pivoted out of a corporate career, what was your corporate career in? If, say, now you're a consultant or a business coach or own a small business, like, did you do something before that? Where did you work previously? The other thing you can look at is who are your best clients? Who are your best customers? What do they have in common in terms of, the industry type, the job title, the type of business? What are those commonalities? Where have you gotten the best results for clients? What are your best stories? What are your best examples, case studies? That's how to build a really good niche audience on LinkedIn. It's two things. One is where you've already been in your own journey professionally, just like I had worked for a debt collection trade association. That was a great hook there. And then where have you already had successful clients? And that's with Catherine Bishop. I naturally have a story that I can go and share with other accountants, other bookkeepers, and other CPAs and say, look, this accountant, bookkeeper, and CPA got so many clients from our LinkedIn lead generation service, she told us to turn it off. Do you really think we won't be able to help you, do well as, the same? Like, of course, right? So again, that's how you really want to build your niche audiences. And I get it. Like, at the end of the day, the reality is you probably can work with anyone and everyone, right? Coaching is coaching, accounting is accounting, bookkeeping is bookkeeping. Sure, there's some subtle differences, but people want to feel like you get them. People want to feel like, oh, cool, they've worked with someone just like me, therefore I don't have to educate them, I don't have to sweat it, they're going to know all the nuances and nooks and crannies and unique things about our industry that makes us so unique and different. It's important. It's really important. So you've got to just understand that if you want to be successful marketing on LinkedIn. So in this next section, I'm going to get into what I call the ultimate LinkedIn profile template. Again, if you want to have a visual representation of this, you can get the entire PDF, the fill in the blank template, at linkedinriches.com/bonus. That's where you opt in and you get free access to an online course and training videos and templates and scripts and all kinds of stuff. But I'm now going to walk through the most important sections of the template and how to use them and then examples of them. And again, you don't have to use every single example that I'm about to share. It just depends on your own story. So if you don't have, for instance, great media credits or accolades or something like that, you can skip that, right? And focus on a different part. The key of all of this when you're, updating your LinkedIn profile is conveying what makes you unique, different, and better than the competition. And that's going to be different for each and every one of us. So without further ado, let's get into the ultimate LinkedIn profile template. So the first part of this, and again, what I'm talking about, after your LinkedIn profile headline, which we've covered, and your LinkedIn profile headline is service I provide for, insert the target audiences. Now we're going below that to your about section and your experience sections. That's where you've got more room to write more about, what you do and who you work with and all that. So first section I like to use, no matter who it is, for the about section is what I do. And I like to write that in all capital letters, what I do, and then a colon. And the reason is, as of this recording, LinkedIn doesn't let you do formatting like bold or italics or anything like that. There's some workarounds. I won't get into that because I think it doesn't look good, where you can try to copy and paste certain pre-formatted text. I'm not a fan of that. So what I do is I use all capital letters, and then I use a lot of white space so that when you lay out your LinkedIn profile about section, and again, you can see this in the examples I have in the training, or even just look at my LinkedIn profile. But basically, you'll see a lot of white space. We're going to talk about emojis, and then also some all capital letters. And the all capital letters are really about certain sections, just calling things out. What I do, where you've seen me, what makes me unique. You'll see that in a second as I get through this. But first section, most important, what I do, colon, and then here's the formula. I help, insert your target audiences, achieve their goals, insert those, by providing my product or service. So I help a target audience achieve their goals by providing my product or service. So here's an example from my own profile page. What I do, colon, I help small business owners and consultants attract, engage, and sell to their ideal clients online by providing done-for-you LinkedIn lead generation services. So again, if you break that down, what I do, I help this audience, small business owners and consultants, get a benefit they want, which is to attract, engage, and sell to their ideal clients. How do I do it? By providing this service, done for you LinkedIn lead gen. So for you, you're going to fill in the blank the same way. What I do, I help this audience get 2 to 3 benefits they want, and you should know what benefits your clients want by providing this type of service. So for Catherine Bishop, as an example, what I do, I help contractors and construction companies reduce costs, streamline payroll services, and increase profitability by providing industry-specific accounting, bookkeeping, and CPA services, right? So it's a very simple process about filling in the blank. Now, the next section, if you have this and if it makes sense, you can have a section where, again, you type in all capitals where you've seen me and then colon, and then you do a bullet list of, if it's media companies or big name companies you've worked with, whatever it might be. So for me, I have where you've seen me, and then I have a bullet list of, online publications that hopefully people recognize, like, Business Insider, Entrepreneur Magazine, Entrepreneur on Fire, Inc. Magazine, LinkedIn, Social Media Examiner, the New York Times. Now, what I like to do, again, LinkedIn doesn't let you do like bullet lists or formatted lists. So instead of just having like dashes next to each, media outlet, I have a unique emoji. So for Business Insider, I have like a suit and tie emoji. Entrepreneur Magazine, I have like a business briefcase. Entrepreneur on Fire, I have like a flame emoji. Inc. Magazine, I have a camera emoji. LinkedIn, I have like a mobile app emoji. Social Media Examiner, I have like a palm tree because their whole thing is like exploring, right? And then the New York Times, I have a newspaper emoji. So a quick and easy way to do this is you can put in a list of, media companies or whatever into AI and basically say, look at the bullet list below. For your prompt, you basically just put in this bullet list and say, for each item on the bullet list, insert a unique emoji related to the item it describes instead of a bullet point. And it will immediately figure out and put in what it thinks are appropriate emojis. So that's a super easy way to kind of build these bullet lists in a visual fashion. This looks really good on LinkedIn because, again, you're scanning up and down, you're scrolling through a profile. Those emojis, because they're visual, will catch you. And again, taste matters. So being tasteful with emojis matters. Use AI like it's a really good gauge of, what makes the most sense, what's relatable. So now the next section is very similar. Again, we've got what I do, where you've seen me. If you've got like media credits, you put those in as a bullet list. The next one, if you've worked with a bunch of big name clients, you can do where you've seen my work. Where you've seen my work, all capital letters, colon, and then a bullet list. And that's where you'd put in big name companies. And the example I have in the print book is from a client who they'd worked with Bank of America, Capital One, Honda, Intel, Kellogg's, Microsoft, Oracle, PayPal, Royal Caribbean, Warner Brothers. So they had this big list of companies that they had been a consultant for. So that's something unique about them that, is great proof and, all that and authority. So we did a bullet list of those companies and, again, fed it to AI and said, hey, look at this bullet list of companies. For each company on the list, insert a unique emoji related to what the company does in front of it. So for Honda, it put a car emoji. For Bank of America, put a bank emoji. For Capital One, it put a credit card emoji. For PayPal, it put like a money emoji of like a bag of money. Royal Caribbean, it put like a cruise ship emoji. Warner Brothers, it put like a movie camera. So again, use AI to make this a little bit easier when you're building these lists. Now, the next section is really important, and I think everyone should have this one. And it's, again, all capital letters. What makes me unique, right? What makes me unique? And I want you to answer that. What makes you unique, different, or better than your competitors? Is it the years of experience? Is it the big companies you've worked with? Is it you have this unique certification and only 5 people in your industry get? Is it your backstory, right? So example from Catherine Bishop's profile. Of what I wrote. What makes me unique? And this is what we wrote for her. My dad was a contractor and my mom a CPA. A match made in heaven, right? We're putting her personality in there. And then it says, so I literally grew up in the construction industry, having to be on the job site each Saturday by 8 a.m. growing up. As a result, I have unparalleled insight into and experience around the unique dynamics running your own contracting or construction business, the role your family plays, and more. So again, what makes me unique? It could be your story. It could be who you've worked with. Again, you can nuance that and write it a certain way, but that's the idea of that section. Now, another section to include that I think is important is services I provide. So again, all capital letters, services I provide, colon, and then a bullet list of services. So again, we'll just stick with Catherine Bishop because it's easy to use the same example. Being an accountant and bookkeeper and CPA, we did a list of services, accounts payable, accounts receivable, cash flow analysis, construction, cost control, payroll, income taxes, virtual CFO. Same thing. Fed that bullet list into AI, said, give me a unique emoji for each bullet list item and put it at the front like a bullet point. Boom, done, listed. So for you, same thing. Look at the services that you provide and list them out. List them out in terms of, a scannable bullet list. I like to do it in alphabetical order so people can look at it like a dinner menu and go up and down. Another key thing that I'll point out when you're looking at the services you provide, or even with your headline, like, listing the services you provide, right now, as of this recording, LinkedIn is very SEO conscious, right? LinkedIn has built this monstrous platform, 1 billion users. They index every single keystroke, every single piece of content people enter, and then LinkedIn creates what it thinks are certain keywords and important, phrases to use that help surface your profile, that help explain what you do. Because again, LinkedIn's idea is if I go on the platform and I want to connect with someone that can help me solve a problem, LinkedIn will try to surface people's profiles that it thinks will match my need or my search, query, so to speak. So if I'm looking for an accountant and I'm a contractor or a construction company and I'm typing in accountant LinkedIn on their LinkedIn search, they're going to surface Catherine Bishop because her keywords in there, construction, contractor, and accounting, CPA, whatever. So that's part of it. One great place to look as of this recording is your LinkedIn skills. So everyone's profile, you have a section that says LinkedIn skills, and that's where you can list, hey, what are you good at? What services do you provide? And if you use that, it's like a drop-down search menu, kind of like a Google search where it suggests terms as you start typing. Start typing phrases in there about the services you provide. So start typing in like consulting, and it will have a drop-down list of suggested consulting terms. Again, this is in the skills area of your profile. And I have trainings on all this in the bonus section if it's easier to watch me do it and show you. But that's important when you're picking the services you provide to list on your profile. You want to try to pick some that LinkedIn already has as keywords or phrases. So that's why if you're doing accounting and bookkeeping and payroll or SEO or sales training or whatever it is, type those phrases into the LinkedIn skills area on your own profile and see what it suggests, how it phrases it, what words it uses, and sprinkle some of those into your profile in these sections. Now, the next area is problems I solve for clients. Okay, so again, let me just go back because I know we're covering a lot. We're starting with from top to bottom what I do, where you've seen me, who I work with, right? And those are the bullet lists, what makes me unique. Now we're talking next about services I provide in that bullet list. Then we're getting into problems, and this is optional. You don't have to list all of these, but sometimes it's good to lead with the pain, right? People will act fast to escape pain. So you have an all capitals section, all capital letters, problems I solve for clients. And again, you're going to do a bullet list, with emojis, and it might be things like, say you're a consultant or a business coach, and you help solve the following problems: time management challenges, dysfunctional team dynamics, lack of organizational influence, mindset challenges, right? So again, focus on the problems. Like you could say, company turnarounds or profitability issues or revenue challenges or payroll, issues, whatever it might be. Like if you have certain problems that people in your industry speak in those terms of pain, right? That can be helpful, right? Administrative challenges, whatever it might be. Now, if you want to be more on the positive side, instead of saying problems I solve for clients, you could also write instead benefits my clients realize. So that would be an all capital phrase, benefits my clients realize, and then a bullet list, again, with emojis in front of each benefit. And for this example of a coach or a consultant, maybe it's the benefits my clients realize, and then a bullet list of increased clarity and focus, increased productivity, increased profitability, improved work-life balance, increased team performance, increased employee retention, right? So again, if you lead with the problem side, you could say, problems I solve, employee turnover. Benefits my clients realize, employee retention improves, right? Something like that. So again, just you decide how you want to do it. Now, another section you can add, and keep in mind there's a character count, so you can't fit just endless amounts of text into your LinkedIn profile sections. Pick what's best and what you think works for you. But another section that I like to use, again, all capital letters for the heading, who I work with, : and then you say I partner with, and insert the target audience, including, and then list out the job titles. So for example, let's say Catherine Bishop wants to list out who I work with. It might be mechanical contractors, construction company owners, whatever it might be, different types of contractors, different types of construction companies. Again, it all depends. You want to list out the types of people that you work with. It could be concrete construction, industrial. These are ones from LinkedIn that they suggest for industry types on that skills area. Concrete contractors, industrial services, landscape contractors, professional services, distribution. So again, do a little research, but the point of it is who I work with, and then list the types of companies, the types of professionals. If it's a job title, it could be healthcare executives, it could be CFOs, it could be construction CFOs, right? The more niched and nuanced you can get, the better. Just so people, again, the whole point of the who I work with bullet list is, oh, he works with people just like me. Small business owner, right? Whatever it might be. It could be geography based. So Minnesota based small business owners, right? Depending on the richest bean in whatever niches for you, think creatively and then list out, these are my ideal clients, right? Wealth management professionals, real estate attorneys, commercial business development executives. There's so many options, and you know who you want to appeal to. Same idea. There's another section if you want that you can do, again, all capital letters, industries I work with, and you would just list out the industries. Now, let's move on to another one. We're almost to the home stretch here. I know there's a lot in an audiobook to listen to. And again, that's why I suggest you go to the bonus area and get the template. It's easier to lay it all out and look at it. But another section is what others say, : all capital letters, what others say. This is where I want you to put in 2 to 3 testimonials from real clients. And I don't mean fake or perceived fake. I see way too many testimonials on LinkedIn and on websites where they just give a first name or a description. Like, John was great to work with. And then I'll say like Susie S. It's like, come on, you could have made that up. Like, make sure that it's a real person with a real identifiable job title, company name, whatever. So for example, for me, my section has what clients say. And then I have these testimonials in there. The first one is Catherine Bishop, and it says Catherine Bishop, accountant and CPA. The next one is from a guy named Jeremy Dyer. He's the founder of Starting Point Capital, right? And I won't read you the testimonials. The idea is I put 2 to 3 testimonials from real clients, first name, last name, role, title, company name, whatever, so that people can verify it. Because again, if you just put, and some people will say, well, I'm limited, I can't share full names, or I have to get permission, or I can't disclose, then don't use them. I would say you do more harm than good by, even if it's a legit testimonial, if it says John Nemo's the greatest thing ever, small business owner, like, initials or something, it looks fake. It's like, come on, anyone can make that stuff up. So I would almost stay away from them unless you can use the person's full name and company name. Now, the last part of this, of your about section, you want to have something that says ready to talk, ? So all capital letters, ready to talk. And then it can say simply, reach out to me directly here on LinkedIn or visit me online at blank URL, email me, phone, like whatever you want to do for contact information. That's where I would put that at the bottom of that profile page. So I know we walked through a lot here in the Ultimate LinkedIn Profile template, section by section. I just want to explain a little bit more about how the whole template works. Again, we're using all capital letters for those headings, like what I do, what makes me unique, who I work with, etc. Again, so people can scan up and down and quickly see. And it's your job to figure out or ask for help, right? What is most important or impressive about my background, my experience? Is it who I've worked with? Is it these big name clients? Is it my years of experience? Is it my client testimonials? Move certain sections higher or lower in your profile template area based on what is most impressive. If you've got a testimonial from, Tony Robbins about how you're a great coach, that should be up near the top, right? If you have a huge, impressive list of big name clients you work with, that should be up near the top. If it's more about how unique you are based on your story, put that up near the top. Again, make sure that you kind of organize it based on what's most impressive about you toward the top, so people can kind of immediately go, oh, wow, that's unique, that's different, that's impressive. Also, as you know by now, I love my emojis. So add some visual sizzle, like put some emojis in. And I know some people think they're unprofessional and blah, blah, blah. May I politely suggest you just get over yourself? Emojis are here to stay. Like, here's a great example, and I alluded to this, I think, in the author's note. When I first started, emojis weren't even part of, like, computer keyboards or normal text. You had to go off to different emoji websites and copy and paste them. Like, they're now just everyday communication. Everyone uses emojis. When you're texting with someone, I don't care if you're a boomer, a kid, whatever, you're using emojis all the time. I like them in a LinkedIn profile page because instead of bullet points or dashes or line breaks, it's some visual sizzle that really helps catch the eye, right? So again, this is super important to know when you're laying out your profile, to have these different sections, to use some emojis in lieu of bullet points. And then also kind of another quick tip, make sure when you look at your LinkedIn profile page from top to bottom, repurpose your about section in the experience area. So what I mean is, if you look at my profile, John Nemo, profile headline, the first thing you see is about, right? And it's like a general about section, and that's where I'm going to write what I do, who I work with, all that stuff. Now, below that is an experience section, and that's where you're supposed to list all the companies that you've worked for, any businesses you own, years that you worked there, all that stuff, your job titles. In those experience sections, you want to also use this same approach. So don't forget that. I see too many people do a great job on their LinkedIn About section with what I do, who I work with, what makes me unique, but they forget lower down in the experience section and they just list company name, CEO, and there's no text below it. So make sure you bring that text down from your About section to the relevant companies that it applies to. So again, for me, I have my About section, LinkedIn lead generation, all that, and then I have a company listing, Nemo Media Group, right? I've worked there from 2012 to present. I'm going to put in there what I do. I help generate leads, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to bring that down. Now, this is a key point that I want to drive home as well, is your experience section is a great place to appeal to multiple audiences on LinkedIn. So if you're like, listen, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 different target audiences. I can't fit them all into my LinkedIn headline. I can't fit them all into my LinkedIn About section. What do I do? The great thing about the LinkedIn Experience section is under one company name, you can have multiple listings. So for example, with Nemo Media Group, under my experience section, I have like 5 different listings, right? So the first job listing under Nemo Media Group is done for you LinkedIn lead generation for small business owners. The second quote unquote job listing is done for you LinkedIn lead generation for accountants, bookkeepers, and CPAs. The third job listing under Nemo Media Group is done for you LinkedIn lead generation for franchise consultants. The fourth job listing under Nemo Media Group is done for you LinkedIn lead generation for consultants. And again, each one has unique text, has unique testimonials from people in those industries. And that's how, if someone's scanning through my profile, they can see under Nemo Media Group, oh, he works with accountants, he works with CPAs, he works with small business owners, he works with franchise consultants. And in each of those little experience listings, it's more specific to their little world. So here's specifically how I help franchise consultants generate leads. Here's specific testimonials from franchise consultants I've worked with. Here's specific, what makes us different than other franchise consultant lead generation sources. So all of that can go into those experience sections. So again, that's how you can kind of expand upon and appeal to multiple audiences on LinkedIn. Again, if you need a visual representation of this in the print book, the Kindle book, and then in the bonus training areas and the LinkedIn profile template, you'll see how I do this under my own experience section. Or if you just go look at my LinkedIn profile, John Nemo, under experience, you'll see Nemo Media Group, and you'll see all the different listings. Done for you, done for you, done for you, and then different audiences. That's the ideal place to do this. And remember, LinkedIn is a giant search engine. So the more content you create, the more that you share, the more that you put on your profile page, the easier it is for you to get found on the platform. So again, if someone's searching for a service provider unique to their little industry, you're going to have a better chance of showing up if you've got text and keywords in your profile that fit that kind of need, right? Again, construction accounting, construction CPA, those things are going to help Catherine Bishop surface more than just your general random CPA. Now, again, there's more to it of how LinkedIn decides who to show, leads and lists to. We'll get into that later. But that's just one piece of it. So next I want to talk about your LinkedIn header artwork. Now, if you're not familiar with that, again, at the top of your LinkedIn profile, you have like your profile photo. And I guess I should talk about that for 1 second. I just take this for granted now. Don't upload a bad photo. Don't upload a vacation photo of you in sunglasses and a hat on the beach. Don't upload a picture of your dog. Upload a professional profile photo. It should be a close-up of your face. You should be smiling. You should look happy and relaxed and calm. You should not be wearing sunglasses and, looking like the Unabomber. I mean, I forget that some people skip that. And again, we judge based on this cave person lizard brain that we have. I'm going to immediately look at your photo and judge, are you safe? Are you welcoming? Are you friendly? Or are you a threat? Do you look sketchy? Do you look weird? What's your vibe? So take the time. You don't have to go to like a professional photographer now with mobile phones and everything. Just, put on whatever your brand is. For me, I'm wearing a golf shirt, which is like way too dressed up. But like even there, like, again, I'm smiling, I'm looking into the camera, I'm looking happy and relaxed. So again, that's your profile photo. Make sure you take care of that. Now, I want to talk next about this header artwork behind your profile photo. And that's it's like a billboard space. It's like a big rectangle that's behind your head on LinkedIn and above your profile headline. And a lot of people will put like a nature image in there or like a logo or something like that. There's a very specific approach that I want you to take. And it's basically two things. You either want to do social proof plus the service you provide, some text in the header, or you want to have your, header artwork be about a topic and then the service you provide is text. So again, it's a little hard to convey in an audiobook, but for me, what I've got is the social proof. So it says, my LinkedIn header artwork behind my profile photo says where you've seen me, and then it has logos of Inc. magazine, LinkedIn, the New York Times, Business Insider, etc. So a bunch of media logos, and then it actually has a copy of this book, LinkedIn Riches, on there, and then below it, it has the service, which says done for you LinkedIn lead generation. So social proof plus a service. And I put other examples in the book and in the trainings, the free bonus trainings. But depending on what it is that you do, so for Catherine Bishop, an easy example, her background image was a construction job site, right? People on it, it's very obvious, there's guys in hard hats, it's a construction website. And then the text said something like accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll services for contractors and construction companies. So again, an image of the, industry you work in or the types of people you work with, and then, text of what the service is, right? So I've got an example in the book of a guy named Jason Vanzen, a done-for-you client of ours, who does, cybersecurity and IT consulting, another thing called CMMC compliance consulting, which is like a super long-winded IT security thing, but it's something his people know, managed IT services. So we have these kind of phrases of what the services are laid over like an image that kind of represents cybersecurity and networks and, technology, right? And then that's a very good example of like a topic, you look at the background, there's internet, IT, cybersecurity kind of imagery, and then these services in text laid over it, cybersecurity, managed IT services. So, again, the whole point of the LinkedIn artwork is I know instantly what it is this person does visually and that they work with people just like me. So for Catherine Bishop, if I'm a contractor or construction guy and I look at her profile page, at the top is a photo of a job site, a construction site. Oh, okay. I recognize that. And then words of what she does, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll for construction companies and contractors. So that's the idea. If with a topic based, if you've got a ton of social proof and you want to go that way, then do the whole thing where you've seen me, where you've seen my work, and then have logos of either media companies or big name clients, and then the service that you provide. So there you go. That is a quick wrap up of how to really create a client attracting LinkedIn profile. And now in the next section, we're going to get into how to generate leads on LinkedIn. I cannot wait for that. But again, take your time with this. If you want to grab the bonus training, linkedinriches.com/bonus, use that profile template, fill in the blanks, get your profile up to speed, because I don't want you moving on to generating leads on LinkedIn until you've got a client-facing profile. That's super important.